LEGO's newest botanical might signal a shift in LEGO going forward, and I'm so excited about it. After your last bonsai being kind of a miss, I'm happy to say this one is not. I'm very excited to share it with you. First, we're going to get into my rating, my review, and then some final thoughts, and you'll be on your way to the next video. Let's get into it. I don't know which one to hold. You know what? I'm gonna hold the wisteria. I think that'll be fun, right? I feel like this is the easiest to see from far away. Scale 5 out of 10. This is not difficult, and it's broken up really well if you're a beginner. I'll explain how during the review portion. It's very structured, but a little forewarning here, there are a lot of small pieces, so your thumbs might hurt a little bit afterwards, but beauty is pain. We'll talk about that in like a second, because we're on the skill part of this. Stay on topic. This is a great beginner set. It's not necessarily going to be the most easy beginner set you'll find, but it is very, very doable for a beginner. Aesthetics 9 out of 10. I love these. Look, this guy, this guy, this guy, they all look really good. I did have to subtract 2 points, but let's talk about what I liked first before I talk about why I had to subtract it. I love that these have stands in different heights. I think for display, it makes it look phenomenal next to each other, especially if you're displaying it with the other bonsai sets. I also love the variety and the types of bonsai. As you can see, these are all 3 very distinctly different trees, and I absolutely love that. I also really love the bottoms in here. There's a lot of work that's done to make these bottoms look beautiful and look like little miniatures. That's actually something that I really liked on the Japanese maple bonsai tree, and I'm really glad that that was probably one of the best features on it for me, and I love that they put that over here. The deduction here is the gray pieces. Now, I do have to say this is not nearly as bad as the Japanese maple bonsai tree, which had like an great, I'm trying to think of another word for great that sounds better than great, but like it had a lot of gray in it. You'll see the gray right here and then also right down here, but there is kind of these leaves that are helping mask it. And then on this one, if you look kind of this way or from the top, you'll see it a little bit. I'm moving that one. But it is something that you would have to know it's there to like actually see it. When I was looking at the photos online on the LEGO website, I will say it looks a lot worse than it actually is. Also, the gray on this one, totally intentional. This one doesn't have the issue. These bonsai trees versus the Japanese maple, let me actually, hold on. I'm talking about it enough. But this one of my biggest critiques on this was the gray showing, and there is like a lot. So you can see right in here, gray. You can see the ball joint is gray. You can see that these, I'm gonna pull it off, gray. That is just gray. And then if you even look down to the joints on where each of the branches go off, gray. You can definitely see within here as I'm moving this around a lot more gray, and this one does a really good job of hiding it even though it's smaller, so I definitely appreciate that. So I don't want this to be like a very big knock on it, because I'm not really that mad at it, which is surprising because I hated it on this one. Durability, 7 out of 10. Okay, this is kind of a weird one because we're rating like almost like 3 separate little mini sets all in one thing. This thing should be like an 8. I just knocked it off the table on accident. So just know what I'm about to say doesn't really apply to this one. It's more for these two. This one's like a 6 to 7 on here. There's a lot of small pieces on these two that can be knocked off. I know definitely this one too, but I think because of the type of piece, it's like harder to knock off of here. But these do have small pieces that can be knocked off. I would not drop test these, and I have a funny feeling if these fell, these would break a lot worse than like, well, the other one didn't break, but I have a funny feeling pieces would pop off. I don't think it would be devastating because these are not huge sets, but like, you'd have to fix it, I think. But overall, they're fine for normal handling. I feel like I can go through and kind of adjust around the branches as I want. You can pull it off of its stand and put it back on very easily. Wait, hold on. I need to, there we go. I'd say they're totally fine for normal handling. I just have a funny feeling if they fell, it would be kind of sad. Value, 7 out of 10. Because this rating could be so subjective, I only do it on the price per brick. By the way, you'll hear me call them bricks and pieces interchangeably. I don't know, sorry. There are some factors that can affect that price per brick, like licensed IP. I feel dumb for having to say this, but like obviously there's no licensed IP here. And custom pieces. Nothing in here is custom printed. And as far as I could tell, there were no custom pieces except for maybe this one, this like little mesh piece, but we did see that on the Luxo Junior, so I don't know if this is just a piece that they manufacture, but it's not available in Bricks and Pieces. Yeah, the Bricks and Pieces hub. That's where you buy the pieces online. Anyways, I don't think there's any custom pieces. but that one could be, but I don't think it is. Normally a set will range anywhere from 6 cents to 12 cents. Usually the average being about 10, but for botanicals, I feel like it's usually a little bit lower because no licensed IP. This set costs $64.99 and has 709 pieces, giving it a 9-cent price per brick. I'm very happy with that. It's honestly fantastic. Way to go. Time 10 out of 10. This is like another thing where I feel like I could be really subjective and be like, well, to me it felt fast, but I feel like we have a very easy objective rating here, so I try to keep this rating objective. Some of my ratings within here are very subjective, some of them are objective, and hopefully that helps you make your decision. That's at least my goal. So I kind of do this one based off of the amount of time versus how many pieces I'm averaging, and then my average of how much I get done. Excluding technics, because those are a whole nother beast, usually I can place like 350 to 425 bricks per hour. This one took me about an hour and 27 minutes. We're getting pretty exact here, and has 709 pieces, meaning I averaged 488 bricks per hour. That's insane. Like literally, I felt like I was going pretty fast with this one. I'm like, dang, I'm flying through. I literally was flying through this. That's beast mode. If you're an experienced builder, you're probably gonna fly through it just like how I did. If you are a beginner, I would say like it's probably going to feel good and you're probably going to feel like you're getting stuff done, but it might feel a tad long. Joy, 10 out of 10. Honestly, the last bonsai was a bit of a miss, and I was a little worried about this one. Looking at photos, I did see some gray, but I was so surprised by how much fun this build was. I do have to say maybe the blue wasn't my favorite on the pot. The pot build is really, really fun. I love the sands. I love the details on this. It really, really worked for me. Overall S tier, I have said a while back that I'm trying to be more picky with my sets, but despite the great pieces, this is an S tier set. It's not too expensive for what you're getting. I think it has wide appeal. The botanicals are a huge category for Lego, and like these are beautifully done. I'd say most Lego fans, whether like you're an intense Lego fan like me and you're building so much time a week, or you're just a casual fan, I would say you'll probably like this one. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's get the basics out of the way. This set is 6 bags and each tree has its own booklet. There's 2 things I want to point out with the structure. The first bag of each tree will be the pot and the base of the tree. The second bag will be all the leaves. It's fairly structured, and since the trees are different, it won't feel repetitive, but it is nice knowing what you are getting into with each bag. The second thing I wanted to point out is since there are 3 booklets, this is totally an adorable set that you could build with friends. I've been thinking about doing a Lego building party, and this would be a good set for it. It's really fun because you could totally take home your own tree, but they are all part of a collection. It's visually pretty obvious that there are 3 different varieties, so in order they are ginkgo, Japanese black pine, and finally a wisteria. They actually did a little section in the beginning of the booklets, and apparently these are actual bonsai tree varieties that can be given as gifts, and they all symbolize something different. The ginkgo symbolizes strength and resilience. The Japanese black pine symbolizes strength, patience, wisdom, and longevity. The wisteria symbolizes immortality and longevity. Funnily enough, if you've watched Demon Slayer, it's like the thing that blocks out the immortal demons, so I'm not sure how that works. Anywho, if you know anything about bonsai trees, it's kind of an oxymoron to call them mini bonsai trees, but I understand the sentiment. Bonsai trees are actually something I've been researching because I've wanted to start my own. The whole philosophy behind them is to create a mini version of a real tree. You spend a lot of time and care to print it just right so it looks scaled down. When you look up photos online, that's kind of the best way to describe it, but since this is a smaller version of an already existing Lego set, that's why I assume mini was added. I know I already mentioned this, but I love the way that they did the bottom of the pot. Now, some bonsai trees just have a layer of rock covering the soil in their pots, so the OG bonsai tree is still accurate. However, a lot of bonsai artists will add in carefully trimmed moss or sometimes small bits of scaled down landscaping next to it. And I love that we are now getting that replicated into Lego as well. Out of the 3, by far you can find the most black pine bonsai trees. I've been researching on this for a while, and I'll be honest, I've never seen a ginkgo or wisteria bonsai. Not that it doesn't exist or anything, but if you wanted a real one, the pine would be your best bet. I've mentioned the original bonsai tree, so I did want to pull it out here. It is a little dusty. I did try to fix it before filming, but I'm gonna really need to go through and try to deep clean it, but here it is. Ignore the dust. The OG to me looks really amazing, and it looks like its own thing, but these fit really well next to it. I don't know if the Lego team designed these to look good together, but they do, especially if you took the cherry blossom build on this one. But I do think these are a really big sign that we might be getting sub-collections within botanicals. I'm going to set this down because it's making me feel a little stressed. I want to say like, oh, I'd love it if we started seeing sub-collections within botanicals, but I think we already are. So for example, the 4 gentlemen. I'm gonna put them on screen. I do have these and they are built. I literally do not have enough hands to do that. So picture. Those were 4 botanical sets sold separately that you could just buy one and have one, but you can see visually that there is kind of a theme throughout them where they all look well together. They all have their own style and their own colors and obviously their own plants, but you can clearly tell they are a set. And then there's bouquets and the flower arrangement. And the bouquets, the flowers work well enough that you can swap out the flowers in the flower arrangement. Kind of could be considered category. And I want to sit here and say, like, I think we're getting a bonsai subcategory, but we kind of already are. Like the 4 gentlemen, obviously these 3 had the same pot, but when you look at like this one, it's a similar pot, but doesn't match it 100% the same. Like this one has the divots in it, but they both have the same little style feet. These guys also have a little stand. While it's not the same, to me, it's a little reminiscent of the original. So I would venture to say that bonsai trees are their own sub-collection. Realistically, at this point, we just got 2 separate bonsai sets released, and I don't know how many different varieties of bonsai the Lego team has in them to design. I know I've definitely been seeing some people saying that they want a cherry blossom bonsai, but like the original has that option. So I would kind of venture to say we're probably not going to get that. I also do think we're probably not getting any more bonsai trees before January. But we did just get the hibiscus, which I don't have my review up yet, but that will be coming soon. But I do have some other videos that will be coming first. My next video is going to be the 101 Dalmatians review. There is the like $20 set versus the $150 set, so we'll be going through that. And then my one after that will be the new Schwanstein Castle. I think that's the most correct I've ever said that. And then Tuesday, I think we'll be doing our non-set review video, and then probably that Thursday we'll be doing the hibiscus review, so I'm super excited about that. And then hopefully Saturday will be the Disney Castle review I've been promising you guys, and then beyond that, I'm gonna be honest and say I don't know. So yeah, anyways, I am super stoked to get to that. And with that said, I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye.